Welcome to Streams of Income with self-help author Ryan Rieger. For the next hour, you'll hear proven methods for how to live the multiple income streams dream. Ryan is passionate about helping others discover their gifts and start their own business. He's published 5 books, and his courses and group coaching programs have changed the lives of thousands of students all over the world. Ryan's books include Private Label, The Easy Way, Finding Your Grace Place, and his latest, Streams of Income. And now, here's your host, Ryan Rieger.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Streams of Income radio show. I'm your host, Ryan Rieger. And let me ask you this. How would you like to outsource your entire physical product business? Well, my guests today have done that. Gary and Gay Mosley are a part of my Amazon Legends group, and they have an RV. They get to travel the country. Currently, they're hanging out with their daughter who runs their prep center, and they have VAs in the Philippines that find deals for them and also purchase those deals and make buying decisions for their business. So all that Gay and Gary have to do is pay their VAs bi-weekly, check in on their business from time to time, refresh their Amazon Seller Central account to see how much is selling, and they are literally hands-off. I've never seen anybody have as much of a hands-off business as them. A lot of people ask me, how can I have a passive income selling on Amazon? And I literally say, Amazon selling is not passive at all. In fact, it's very much hands-on. However, Gay and Gary are doing it as passive as I have ever seen anybody do it. And it's because they've outsourced. They have a team in place, and they've built that team up and are now able to literally just check in on their business and see how it's going. So if that's something you're interested in doing, you need to listen to this episode. And if you're interested in going further with outsourcing, I have a Busy to Intentional course where I partnered with my friends Jimmy Smith and Honey Woods on how to outsource your business, how to create SOPs, hiring VAs and all that. I think it'll really help you move forward in your business and be able to scale it, because you got to be able to outsource. You got to be able to work on your business rather than in your business, and having help will really move your business forward. And so the link will be in the show notes for that Busy to Intentional course. But here is my interview with the Mosleys. So guys, this is Gary and Gay Mosley, and obviously they have an RV and they get to travel the country, but they're hanging out with their daughter, and but they run their business from their RV. And so they are very experienced. So guys, why don't you just tell us about yourselves and how you got started selling online?
Okay. Well, we're both from Colorado. When we got started, we owned a ranch there, and my sister had just survived breast cancer, and she had come up for a visit. First time she'd seen the ranch since we had purchased it. Mm-hmm. And due to her circumstances, we'd also just lost my brother to cancer. We were all very involved in, holistic healing. Mm-hmm. And she came up and had been doing research on different plants and their, healing properties. Mm-hmm. And she was just looking out our window one day and our visit and mentioned this plant that grows outside. Uh-huh. And she said, I just looked this up and this is very healthy. It's got a lot of good properties. In fact, the whole plant was edible. Everything on the plant is edible. And so that's kind of where we started. We started doing more research based on what we had growing there on the ranch, just naturally. And we started selling supplements made from these plants. And so we didn't start the usual way. We started
right at private label.
Right at private label.
Private label supplements, no less.
Yeah, and I know, the double whammy, right? So yes, we did. We started there, and then we started selling just on Etsy. Uh-huh. And then Gary decided we need to get on Amazon. Mm-hmm. And that was no easy task. Of course, we had no idea why it wasn't so easy. We got on Etsy, no problem. And we didn't understand about gating. We didn't know anything. And Gary, after about 5 months of our attempting to join Amazon, he became frustrated. You want to tell him what you did?
I just emailed Jeff Bezos straight up. Told him, because I kept getting the runaround.
Yeah.
Everybody. I kept sending them. I mean, they wanted receipts from our supplier. I said, I am the supplier. I own the property. I own the plants.
Yeah.
They're ours. I mean, I am the supplier. You know,
Yeah.
they just wouldn't buy it. So then I just wrote this real nice letter and sent it off. And
Yeah.
he got somebody to get a hold of me, and then we were ungated, so we were good.
Then
That's
we said later we joined this group and we found out we were gated. We didn't know what that meant. And so anyway, now we knew, but it was okay because Jeff Bezos ungated us. So it was all good. But yeah, that was some of the struggles. And that's one of the reasons why we joined the group, is because, you know, going it on your own is not the easy way for sure in this business. And so anyway, it grew and we were both working full-time jobs. And Gary retired in March of 2017 to do this full-time. And then I followed him the December of that year. So here we are making supplements, buying supplements, and we got to a point where we had to actually source supplements to be able to continue with that process. And that was really pretty successful. But we also had a personal life that required us to be a little more flexible, a little more mobile. And so we decided that, you know, we weren't going to be able to continue with our brand on the supplements, and that we would need to sell the ranch and be able to travel to where our elderly parents were going to need us. So luckily with this business, you can be that flexible. So totally did. We switched gears. We decided we were going to do OA and RA, and we started that around, you know, just went that direction. And that allowed us to be on the road. And we still have a couple of private label products, but we pretty much steered away because actually we lost our source for the most part when we sold our ranch. But anyway, we have found that OA and RA are something that we enjoy doing, and we're also able to source that out and not have to do it all ourselves. So that was probably the biggest blessing in changing directions with our business.
That's awesome. Yeah. So we don't really have to go into what OA and RA are. Everybody here knows what that is. But so let's talk about, like, so you're doing that from the road. Are you doing the RA too, or mostly OA?
You know, we don't do much RA at all, but we are in an area where, since my daughter's here, I've been showing her some of the local areas, local stores, regional stores that can be sourced from, in case she wants to branch out and do some RA with some local help here. So just trying to show her, you know, some of that. But for the most part, you know, if you've got a prep center or you've got other people handling that part of your business for you, and you're dealing with the day-to-day of your account and dealing with the day-to-day of buying, you don't have to. You can pass that on too. And that's what we've done. So we're able to travel. We just have to have good internet, of course. And you know, we're able to travel and we're able to run the business too and not touch product. And that's our goal. And now that we have someone else that buys for us too, we don't have to sit hours in front of the computer and make those transactions. So so that's been wonderful for us.
Wow. So let's talk about, how did you about VAs? Like, we can go into that part of it. When did you hire your first VA? What was that first? Did you know, what was the purpose of having that first VA, and what did they do for you?
We were hoping to have them to source for us initially. So we were actually in Salida, Colorado when we were doing our interviews, and internet wasn't great there. And so when we realized we were going to do Zoom interviews, Gary and I decided we were going to have to do this from the Jeep. So there we were. And we drove till we could see the antenna. We parked under the antenna. We're both in the front seat of the Jeep.
Oh my God.
Real professional, of course, interviewing these poor people. And none of them made a comment. I'm sure they thought they didn't know what they were getting themselves into, but but we were able to conduct ourselves somewhat professional, and we interviewed for 3 days. We did that. We drove to the antenna, parked, interviewed. And we were lucky enough to find us 3 people that fit what our criteria was. And honestly, none of them had any experience.
Wow.
And that was just the net that we cast. And we didn't, we didn't know that we would want someone with a lot of experience. That would have been probably nice, but we knew we needed to train them the way we wanted it done.
Yeah.
So anyway, we ended up with 3 VAs. We did let one of them go after a week because not everything's wonderful.
How many did you end up interviewing?
Oh my gosh. 15 or so.
Okay. So 15 down to 3. Did you, what was that process? How did you whittle it down to those 3?
Again, English is, we were hiring from the Philippines. So we did advertise on that Philippine job.
Online job.
Online job Filipino. Yes. Philippines. So we did that. And so we had we had jobs posted and we had 60 to 100 people reply to each one. Of course, we had read up a little bit on it, and they had advised us to include something in the ad that they would be forced to read it and then repeat it. And that did weed out a lot of people. And then what we found was the people who responded back to us, flexibility was one of the things, because we were going to have them work while we were awake while training was happening.
Right.
So that would be nighttime for them. And, but what we found out later, we didn't know it was such a big deal. We thought it would be a big deal, but we found out later that's what they're used to. So they're used to working at night.
Yeah.
So that wasn't a big hurdle to cross. Yeah. But basically, we spoke to them, and you could just get a feel for who was eager to learn. And that was the main thing, because, we didn't have a lot of people in our pool that were experienced. So we realized that up front. So we said, okay, we just need the eager beavers. We need the people who are willing to learn, who want to expand their knowledge. And that's kind of where we focused. And that is kind of what drew us to the people we end up hiring.
Awesome. So you hired 3 VAs, 2 ended up making the cut after a while, and they were your sourcing VAs. They were sending you deals every day? Yes. Online arbitrage deals every day. Okay.
Absolutely. Yes. Every day. And then we also ended up filling that 3rd spot about a week later after we decided that we needed to replace one. So we've got 3 VAs, 2 of them are related, and that happens a lot too.
It does.
And then one is not. And then, so they've been working together though. We do have one VA that is kind of our lead, and he communicates directly with them. So a lot of the information on daily tasks comes from him. And he alerts us to anything that may need our attention. But he's also able to get into our account with Amazon, and we give him more permissions in there as well, so that we don't have to give those same permissions to everyone. Yeah. And so he takes care of that, a lot of that day-to-day stuff for us, right?
And we also did the account management service that you talked about not too long ago.
Yes.
So we're members of that too. So
so we've got a big piece of pie taken care of there too. Thank you.
Yeah. So you guys are they're talking about the Legendary VA's account management service, where somebody will come in and go back on your account. They can go back, I think, 18 months, and they'll be able to grab all refunds for you. And they do some day-to-day stuff as well, like in reports and just checking metrics and stuff. So how you had the 3 VAs. So get me to where you were doing that for a while. You had the 3 OA deal VAs where they were sending you deals every day, but you're still buying them. What was that next step where you're like, ooh, you know what? I wonder if they could just purchase for us and I can even take more off our plate. Cause that's not something most people do. There's a lot of people watching this that'll watch the replay that they have VAs, they have the deals come in every day, and they decide which ones to buy and they make the purchases, but you went one step further. What was that like?
Yeah. Well, in training for the sourcing, they were already doing many of the steps that were going to be necessary to make that final buying decision. So what we had to figure out is, how do we let them buy for us? We talked about doing gift cards. We talked about, we could do prepaid cards, but all of those still would need our input. We would still have to be refilling the cards. There was some follow up with that. Sure. So I guess Gary started searching to try to find us some software that could help us with those tasks, and also give us the freedom to allow them to make purchases based on, our criteria that we've already trained them on.
Yep.
And then how do we, once they make a purchase, we have to have a way for them to document that purchase, and so that we can trace it going to the warehouse, et cetera, et cetera. So Gary got us into what's called LastPass. And we were able to get a lot of that done with LastPass, with giving them permissions. In fact, if they're sourcing, and the way we've got it set up is, the guys, if they source it, they don't get to buy it. That one of the other members of the team reviews it and does the purchase. That way we have two eyes on it.
Perfect.
We don't just have the same person buying and selling. We have two people reviewing it before that purchase is made. And then also, after they make the purchase, then it depends on what kind of purchase it is. Is it something we would consider as a replan? Is it something as a one-off purchase? And they will identify that as such on our spreadsheet. And then we know we can monitor that to see when that product got into the warehouse, when that product got sold, and we can just do some backtracking. Now, more recently, Amazon has started tracking some of that for us, and the restock. And so we are learning how to use that. And we've given one of our VAs access to it, just started this week, to see if he can monitor that for us as well, and keep us abreast of what we need to restock and when. So other than just keeping it on spreadsheets all the time, because those tend to get rather long and lengthy. And especially we're putting purchases on there on a daily basis. So they're doing that for us. And but yeah, LastPass was probably the key for us, sure.
Yeah, and LastPass, guys, for those of you watching, it's a service that you can, like if I was their VA and they didn't want to share with me their personal passwords for all their accounts, they could just give me an account set up, and I could log in, and I would have access to their information, to their credit cards or whatever, their Amazon seller account or whatever, and without knowing that password, their true password. And so it allows just a safety measure. So.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay. So you wake up with deals you're used to, and now your VA makes those buying decisions. What's that like as far as your involvement when so then they buy it and then it goes to a prep? It used to go to a prep center before you had it go to your daughter, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
And it can do both. I think it's a good idea to keep both channels open.
She's our prep center right now.
Yeah, she is our prep center right now. But yes, so basically what that looks like is we have them buy all together. So they are together communicating through Skype when the purchases are being made. So I can tune into their Skype conversation, and I do. And because I usually are doing that in my time between 10 and 1 p.m. So I can monitor their conversations. If they have a hiccup or a problem, I can jump in and give them some information if they need it. More recently, I think after COVID, we found that a lot of more fraudulent software has been put in place on a lot of the websites that we buy from. So sometimes there may be a code or something that's necessary. So we've got the Google Voice, and they monitor that for the codes, and they monitor our email for the codes. So basically, I'm just watching this all happen. And every day it goes the same.
The one that we have that's in charge, he has access to the things with the codes,
right?
The Google Voice and all that. I don't want too many people to have access to where they can go array a little bit, So they'll ask him for a code. Well, we sent a code, and he'll get it, and he'll give it to them. So
right. Yeah, and then we have a limit set too. That's important. I can tell you a quick story. Gary, you want to tell him the quick story about what happened? We didn't have limits.
I wake up at night and I check my phone, and I saw some pretty high charges coming across. We kind of So I start getting up out of bed, and Gay goes, "What's going on?" And I said, "Well, there's about $600 here. I don't know what they're buying, but I think we probably should check it out." So
yeah.
So anyway, it was okay, but we got it under control.
Yeah, we did. That was about day 3. And that was, again, they were buying at night. So while we were sleeping, that sounded good at first, but then we decided, let's get them all buying at the same time.
Yep.
And then be able to also see those transactions coming through. But yeah, we had to set some parameters in place, which was helpful anyway. We just, hadn't thought that far ahead.
Kind of missed that step.
We kind of missed that step. So that was an important one, but we implemented it right away.
But it brought me out of bed real quick.
Yeah, Gary was a bit shocked by how quickly they could spend that money, and so anyway, that was.
It would have been okay if it was on a lot of items, but it was just on a few items. It was like, man,
we're going deep here.
Exactly. Yeah. We're not going wide enough. Man.
No, yeah. So anyway, since then we've definitely got that gauge down to where it's a manageable amount. So.
Yeah. So what's your involvement? So they buy it and it goes to a prep center. What are you guys doing in the business then?
We pay them.
That's awesome.
We do. We pay them.
Yes.
Well, I have looked down a couple times, and I even asked. I said, I didn't even know we sold that.
Did we sell that? I guess so. Okay. Yeah, exactly.
Wow. I know that when we were talking just a few weeks ago, there was a stretch when I guess you were traveling, like you, and maybe it sounds like it may be back to where that was before you had your daughter involved, or literally like you would go days or so at a time and not even look at your account.
Oh,
yeah, we really did.
Well, we liked the Jeep. So we went to Paladero Canyon. I don't know if you know where that is by Amarillo. Mm-hmm. Went jeeping down in the canyon. So there's no internet over there.
No. Yeah. 3 days, dead silence.
We just let them know that if they have a question, we'll get back with them in a few days, you know, and we just hoped everything went fine.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, they're buying and they're finding deals. They're buying them, shipping to your prep center. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, they really were. And we got out of that three days of radio silence, so to speak, and there weren't any majors. I mean,
that's awesome.
They took care of it. They had a couple of questions for us. I mean, it was a plan, and we put it into place, and it actually worked. So we were pretty excited about that.
That's awesome. So literally, if you want to, you literally can just pay them and your business runs, and you can just check in on your Amazon account every once in a while. And you got it to a point to where literally, like almost my title, I said, how to outsource your whole business. Your whole business is literally outsourced, other than you still pay them.
Yeah, we do. We pay them. And we actually, we do have to look at our account, but I mean, we don't even do, we've even got them. I got a list of some things we have them doing. It's kind of crazy, but we have them set all of our max purchases amount, so they can set our max, so they, nobody can buy more than a couple of products. They do that on the regular. They monitor our emails, as I mentioned. So if there's anything that's canceled or anything like that, we goes back and resources and researches why it was canceled. Mm-hmm. Lets us know if we have to make a direct phone call, to contact that vendor, that store, to see, if there's an issue. Usually it's just they suspect fraud. Mm-hmm. And that brings us up to another point too, and that is our VPN. We have bought them a VPN so that they're not using a free VPN. That's their usual go-to out there. So, and that just serves to help keep our account information more private. And so they do, log into that every day. They also log into quite a few other softwares that we have that, helps them also to source, but then also to verify before they make that purchase that those items are still a good buy. Because sometimes they could be sourced, a week or two earlier before we get to the point where they're ready to buy those items. So we just make sure that, they follow through the same process one more time, before that item is purchased. If it's a test product, yes. And same way with replens too, because they don't always stay, viable. So they do check those. And then they'll also we have on our list how many we bought the time prior. And then of course now monitoring, our restock will help us determine how many we need to buy our next purchase in. So.
Well, our daughter and she watches that, they share a spreadsheet. So whatever they do at night, they have this color code thing worked out. So, if something needs to be addressed, it's going to pop up in red or something. So I don't look at it. That's them. They do it. I don't look.
That's awesome. You don't look at it. It's just them.
There's a lot of colors. There's a lot of colors there, though.
Yeah. I do have to make sure that the accounts are paid.
Yeah, we have to make sure we have money in the accounts that they use to buy. And you can set up a parameter as to how much they can spend, weekly or however you want to set it up.
Yeah.
But, mainly is, they pretty much know where it all ends. And so they start the week and the end of the week. And usually they have enough money to make it through the week. So.
Wow. So if you had to give me a list of the things that you guys do in your business currently, what are those? Besides, you said number one, you're paying the VAs every week or 2 weeks or whenever they need payment. Okay. What else?
We do still check our performance ourselves.
Okay.
We do check that to make sure, there's no heavy gotchas. And honestly, with the account management service, that's helped a lot with that.
Yeah.
But we just implemented that recently, but they're taking care of a lot of the, information that comes through as far as, now we're restricted. So there may be some stranded product and they're notifying us of that. And now they're even going in and taking the initiative to have that recalled. So we're not doing that anymore. We were doing that a week ago. So we're not doing that anymore.
And then I've got Tax Jar handling our taxes.
Yeah.
Sales tax.
Okay.
The ones that Amazon handles.
Yeah, of course.
But
Yeah. So that's it. You just pay your VAs and you just kind of look in on your account and see how much you've sold.
And I am using the A2X to work with QuickBooks.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't have to go and look and try to decipher all that.
Yeah.
My bookkeeper kind of insisted on QuickBooks, so I figured I better. Well, I've been doing it a couple of years now. I'm the only one that touches it, so.
No, I don't touch it.
Yeah. So literally, it's just basically you have to pay your VAs. That sounds like that's the only thing that you really have to do in your business. Everything else is just kind of checking, just looking in on it, seeing how it's going, how much we sold today. Wow.
Our daughter's really taking care of the eBay too. We've got them listed eBay for us. And then she's handling that, and she takes photos of the stuff, sends it to them. They do the listing and all that. So
that's incredible.
And send it back to her. That we just started a couple of weeks ago. So the eBay part, we didn't want to do any of that either. So they're doing that, and they're actually working pretty good for us.
Oh my God! Yes. Can you give me an idea? Is it okay if I ask like what what your sales are in a month or so, like in this method?
We're doing what?
Well, right now, this last 30 days, we're at 65,000.
65.
Wow! Oh my gosh!
And prior, we were at a little over 60. So.
That's incredible. And, I have our VA service and I have a VA that pays the other VAs. So if you wanted to, you already know this, you could have another VA paying the other ones and you wouldn't even all you'd have to do is just look in on your business. Although paying your VAs probably takes 5 minutes a month. So.
Right. Yeah. After talking to you the other day, because I was only doing it monthly, but they seem like they want to know, is it payday? Is it payday? It's like, obviously they want to get paid every 2 weeks. It sounded like, so I said, do you want to, she goes, if you offer that, they're going to say yes. So I said, well, that's fine. It just costs an extra $15 for our 3, a month. So.
Yep. Exactly.
But I said, I don't want them going anywhere else because they're waiting on their money or something.
Yeah. They've been with us for almost a year. So,
that's awesome.
So we definitely, treasure them for sure.
Yeah.
So we want to make them happy.
Yes.
And so anyway, they did vote. They all voted, and we are doing the biweekly. Biweekly. Yeah.
That's how we pay them too. So now it's going to be 10 minutes a month that you have to work.
It went from 5 to 10.
5 to 10. So we lied on this. It's not actually outsourcing your whole business. We should have said how to work only 10 minutes a month.
There you go. Yeah. There you go.
It just depends on how much you want to be involved and how much you want your other people. It's hard to let go for people that have control issues like me. So I mean, it is, when I know every charge that goes on because it goes across my phone.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the Skype is on my phone. So if something goes crazy,
Yeah.
we know it, but we don't have to get involved if we don't want to,
That's
unless
incredible.
it's just crazy.
Yeah.
So,
So
and our
we-
daughter's
Love
getting
it.
better and better at knowing
Yeah.
the business. So I think currently she doesn't have a job because she sold her house and
Uh-huh.
everything. And she's in an RV also, sitting
Wow.
right next to us right now. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
We talked about the sourcing, verifying quantities. And that we were using kind of a formula for that when we were testing out our replens. And what about the second buy? How many do we buy? That was their question.
Mm-hmm.
And so we worked that out, but now we're also trying to utilize what Amazon is already sharing with us and foremost about our replens. So we are trying to utilize the information that's available. And I don't know if anybody said if they've been watching, but there's a couple of guys in here that have been very successful in utilizing that information and growing their business. So we look forward to doing that same thing for us.
Mm-hmm.
And then, we make sure that everything meets our buying criteria prior to the purchase. So again, if it was sourced a day or two or a week or two before, we want to make sure that's still an appropriate purchase.
Mm-hmm.
And then they create accounts. I mean, like if they source something that's from a store we've never bought from before, our one VA that does all of our work for us, he'll go in and he'll create the account. And he'll make that first purchase because a lot of times you can't create an account till you actually make a purchase. He'll do all of that for us. And then he'll share that information into LastPass. And then we're able to share that with all the other VAs.
when he creates that account, we've given him access to one credit card number.
Okay.
So he can enter that if they don't use PayPal.
Okay.
I like to use PayPal because just one credit card, can handle a lot of purchases. Now he goes in, he puts all of our information in there, the shipping. I've got it set up on LastPass where you can just hit a button if it recognizes it, and it fills in my name, my address,
Mm-hmm.
all of it with just a click of the button, fills in the credit card info. It'll do it all.
That's it right there. And then once we bought everything, they do, like I said, share that spreadsheet with our daughter.
Uh-huh.
And right now, they'll monitor for completed purchases. And then after 30 days, if for some reason something didn't come in,
Mm-hmm.
we especially experienced that during COVID too.
Sure.
But, still every once in a while, bad weather will happen and we won't get something and it comes in, it gets lost or whatever. So after 30 days, they'll go back and look to see if any of those processed payments, if they process the payment, we didn't receive the merchandise. So that's really a nice thing to go back and follow up on. And then, like I said, they create listings on other platforms now. So we're doing eBay, letting them do that for us as well. And then, so to get things really started, we kind of included this list of things. These are the products that we use, the software that we use to get them everything they need to run our business. So we have the VPN, of course, and our LastPass, of course, Kiva and RevSeller. And I don't know if you're aware, but in RevSeller, you can set up parameter settings. And so we have them download a setting so that or upload really a setting into RevSeller so that when they are checking to see, we have our average cost of shipping, our average tax, those things in there in place so that when they're all looking at it, it's all apples to apples. One of them won't think it's a good buy and the other one won't. So all their parameters are set exactly the same. And we change that periodically. It just depends on what situation is.
Mm-hmm.
We just recently got a UPS account, so some things changed regarding our shipping costs. And then, of course, any cash back. And that was another thing too. We had to train them how to do the cash back offers.
Oh.
If they're buying on a site that has cash back,
Mm-hmm.
or things like some stores have cash bucks, different things that they promote, and you can have discounts, $5 off, $10 off. Received an email. So anyway, they process all those and make sure they utilize those when they make the purchases too, so that no money is left on the table.
Wow. You got IP Alert, DS Amazon Quick View, and Helium 10. All right.
For some of those, you have to pay a little extra to add extra users.
We do. Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, you ready to take some questions?
Bet.
All right. So we got quite a few here. So Ryan and also Vitaly are asking kind of the same question on this one. How soon until you gave the lead VA access to your account? How fast are you able to trust him?
Well, on that, I'm going to say we did take a little while for that, but now that looking back, I don't think it was necessary. I think if you have one person that has the access, and like Gary mentioned, we have all of our transactions for the credit card go to our phone, so we get notified every time there's a transaction. So we're able to view that on an immediate basis, and I don't think that they would be able to process too much before we would catch on, only because we see those transactions as soon as they happen. Okay. If you don't have that kind of access to your account, then you might try it with a few stores at first, and then expand that.
But you can also put a limit on your card too, how much can you spend a day. So
yeah, you can put
somebody
daily
can't
limits.
Go crazy. So
yeah. And maybe you trust them first with a prepaid credit card.
Right.
Maybe you start there, and if that goes well, then you graduate up to something like LastPass and give them a credit card number to work with the other VAs.
I mean, the credit card company seems to kind of know when something is fraudulent. They've been pretty good about it because we start buying from a certain amount of all these different stores, and they see the same thing, come the same name. Then all of a sudden something else pops up and I get a fraudulent thing. Yeah. And I say, no, that looks fraudulent. So,
That's awesome. Okay. So standard operating procedures, Vitaly wants to know, did you make an SOP to train the VAs? And Jonathan's asking kind of the same question. How did you train them?
Yes, we have several. The first, again, I think you have to start with your purchasing VA. They need to know how to source. Unless you're just doing the purchasing and they're just, they're the last step. We chose because sometimes purchasing can take a while. I mean, it can take a good chunk of your day depending on how much you're doing. Yep. So yeah, I think you could do that with, you can have the SOPs, show them just about everything, and you're going to have some training, of course, with your Keepa, how to read. And you notice we had helium 10. We have them all of them have helium 10. There's a lot of data information that we like for them to check before they make purchases and different things like that. And that's all available in that program. So we do have a lot of that shared with them. So that has an SOP, to use it.
We made multiple videos.
And multiple
videos. Okay, so Jonathan's asking, was it, so it was mainly videos, not written down?
Well, we did both. First we did videos, and we asked the question, we said, are the videos better or the handwritten better? And they said both. Okay. We're like,
both.
Okay. Both. So what we did is, actually my daughter's pretty handy, as you can tell, and she went ahead and put the words on the screen. So explained the movements that we were making, and that way they could see both at the same time. So depending on how they learn, if they're more of a visual learner or if they needed to read the word, but also see where everything is on the screen. So actually, we've got several of those.
This is awesome. People are loving this. Okay. On the SOPs, Jonathan's asking about the best way to write them. This is content structure, depth of content. Like if you're writing one out, what does it look like? Is it very, very, very detailed, or is it high level, or is it like every single little step?
Well, at first, you've got to know how to do it yourself. Yeah. Or somebody, whoever's writing the SOP needs to know how to do the process.
Right.
And it's going to be detailed in the beginning.
Yeah, it is.
And then you're going to cut back a little bit, after you get down to the 10th version or whatever the number of versions you go through.
Yeah. And what we found is when we were detailing certain processes, it was a similar process to something else that we had described to them earlier. And so we were able to combine some of our SOPs later due to their experience and be able to direct them to a certain SOP that had maybe all those steps that now they are familiar with the little steps in between, but they also now have one source. They don't have to go through the whole library of SOPs, if that makes sense. they're able to say, oh, I know that's part of this process and I know where that is. So they can go and check that. And that's all shared in our Google Drive. So they have access to that anytime.
That's awesome. All right. Vitali's asking, how do you do bookkeeping and how often do you check your profit percentages to make sure your margins are still good?
Inventory lab. Informed.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can run a report anytime you want.
Yep. How often do you do that?
I don't look at one informed maybe every week. I don't.
Once a week? Is that
Yeah,
okay?
that's okay. That's good.
Once a week, probably.
Well, I actually have got my daughter where she's getting into informed and she's doing all the inventory lab. She's doing all of the the shipments on there and the MFN. So she's pretty much dealing with all that. So
yeah. But I mean, you can have anyone, you can have a person who does that for you, sets up your shipments, etc. I mean, if you were using a prep center, a lot of that, you would do some of it on your own, but a lot of that finished part, they would do themselves. So, that's another way that you can delegate to.
Vitaly wants to know, do you pay the VAs by the... Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you pay the VAs by the hour or on commission? If I remember correctly, you guys they're on a flat fee every single month.
Yeah. They do have an hourly rate, and on occasion we'll offer them if they want to work extra. They can, and then if they do, then we pay them those extra hours. But we have a hourly wage, and they're not all the same.
Sure.
Our main VA, he gets paid a little bit more than the other two. And but we've given them raises on pretty regular basis. We tried to adhere to what they're accustomed to. I know you talked a little bit about that, with your conversation with your VA, I mean, we try to be aware of their needs as far as their culture. And like I said, at first I thought they'd be wanting. I kept trying to get everything scheduled so they could work during their day. And I did not realize that wasn't a goal for them. Their goal was to continue to work in the evening so they could spend their daytime hours with their family. And, that came with, saying, hey, you guys, I've almost got this figured out where you guys can work, and they're like, okay. And you can tell they don't want to disappoint, but you could tell that wasn't on their wish list after all. So we just let them decide when they want to work, when they have to do that time together with the buying. The other time, and they're sourcing or anything else that they're doing, they can do that whenever they're ready to do it.
That's wonderful. Are you comfortable saying what, on average, what you pay them? Karen is wanting to know that.
Average. What does it run about? 400, 500 a month? Between 400 and 500 for them?
Oh, you mean each?
No, yeah, each.
Oh, I was gonna say you don't pay the bills, do you?
No, I don't.
Between the three of them, it's between 14 and 1500 a month.
Okay. Yeah, total that you pay. So divide that by 3. So $400 to $500 a month each.
And then you got a few fees in there,
Sure.
But
yeah. All right. Tasha wants to know what do they use helium-10 for again?
Well, on helium-10, I don't have it pulled up right now, but when you go into helium-10 and the extension, when it comes up on your screen, there's a data area. And also we like to use helium-10 to determine how many cells a month. There's a lot of programs out there that will give you that information, even, Keepa will. But that information seems to be, I think, more accurate possibly with helium. And when you're looking at your replans and what you want to purchase on the first, after you've done a test, we have them use that information that's in that extension under data and then x-ray. So we try to have them review those areas in the product first before we make a buying decision.
Okay. Kim wants to know, what is your minimum ROI to account for prep center fees?
Yeah. I don't know that we have it, like I said, a minimum on per product. Is that what we're asking? Because we have
a lot of people ask for, try to get 100% or 50%, if you spend $10, you want to make $5, you make it 50% or.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
I'm having to look
Oh, the wind just picked up. Gary's got to pull in the awning.
Oh, no problem.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Light goes on, right? I don't, we have our product line. I mean, we have some products that are $200
Okay.
And then we have products that cost us $8. Our average is between 21 and 20. Well, average is 21 to 24
Okay.
every week when we buy.
Okay.
So if that helps answer that
If
question.
you have a certain,
But in helium-10, the ROI is showing an average of between 35 and 50 is a pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great.
Depending on the product, you know.
Mm-hmm. Because
Wow.
some products we do better than others, but others, honestly, I think you have to feed the beast.
Yes.
And so if you don't have products that turn over quickly, it affects your account.
Yes.
So you can't just hit the big hits and go on. You have to have some little trickles too that turn quickly.
Yeah.
And they help pay the bills too, you know.
Yeah. If you get
More.
enough small ones where you're only making $1 or $2 an item after your expenses, you don't have to have a whole lot of those to cover your $1,200 to $1,500 you're paying your VAs a month.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because Edward's asking, how do all these costs impact your margin overall? I mean, it sounds like you're still doing really well with the VAs, only being at $1,500 a month. Yeah, that's awesome. Kim wants to know, were you at 60K a month in sales when you started the outsourcing to VAs, or did that having the VAs allow you to get to that level?
It allowed us to get to that level. We were probably on average 30.
Okay.
When we first started with the VAs.
Wow.
Yeah. I'd say 30 because we were doing all the buying and I mean, we were spending a lot of time.
Just 43-foot motorhome was doing the prepping and everything.
Wow.
And when it got to a point to where the nights were getting kind of long, we decided we better get somebody else. And then we need to have more fun, you know. So.
Yes.
Fun was no fun. And even though we have a lot more free time now, we've doubled our business. So I think we made the right decisions in the way we went as far as getting help and what help we got.
Totally, you did. Wow. Battalion wants to know, are you thinking of scaling even more, hiring more VAs, expanding the prep center?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Well, where we put the prep center right now is a relative. It's my parents, and they're in their age. They're, you know, and that way my daughter, somebody's here watching them, you know. So, and they've got a 60 by 100 building that's got electricity and concrete floor, you know, the whole work. So,
so we're renting a section of it. My father-in-law is on the other side. Plus, we have an aviation business too. So,
wow.
We have a lot of stuff going on right in this little square feet.
Right.
And our little postage stamp area, we have a lot going on right now.
Yes, you do. Kim says, was the goal of hiring VAs to grow your business, or kind of went over this just a second ago, but was it to grow your business or simply maintain your existing monthly sales without you having to do the bulk of the work?
You know, at first it was because of our circumstance, because we had such a small space that we were working out of. That led us to hiring help. But once we hired them and realized it didn't affect our bottom line negatively, like, you know, we thought, okay, well, now we're going to have to split our profits. You know, now we're not going to be making as much. It didn't do that at all. In fact, we got the time back and our business grew. And I think the business grew because we were able to review what we were doing in our business, some of our choices we had made, some of the choices we had put out in the, you know, future. And we were able to go ahead and do those things now. And, you know, like, you know, for example, our eBay thing, that kind of happened. And some of the things, because we're stayed put for a minute, we said, you know what, let's try to get on Walmart and let's try to get on a few other, you know, platforms as well. So that gave us time to do that. Otherwise, we would not have had time to explore those.
Sure. Wow. Kim wants to know, who fulfills your eBay orders and what percentage of your sales are on the non-Amazon platforms?
Well, like I said, we just started the last 2 months. What is eBay doing? About 2?
We're doing about 3,000.
About 3 now. About 3,000 on eBay. We've been doing it a couple of months. We're not buying specifically for eBay. We are selling those items that, you know, I don't know how involved most of these people here have been here a while. So, you know, we've been getting some stranded. Like I said, we were pretty heavy in supplements. Now supplement their issues, toys. We were pretty heavy into toys. So, and that was another thing too, all things had to come back from Amazon. We had to have another way to get them sold. So that's when our eBay kicked in. So that's pretty much what we're selling on eBay right now. It really wasn't that we were going to go eBay, let's go. It was more of where do we sell this product? And hey, you've been talking about doing eBay. Let's do it. So that's kind of how that happened.
And your daughter fulfills that for you?
Pretty much. Nice. Yeah. I mean, we've got some help for her. She's not just doing it by herself.
Okay.
We do have a help. He just started this week though.
Okay.
So
that's great.
So anyway, we do. We have
expanding.
another part. Yeah, we are. We have another part. And believe it or not, his parents called us today and want to know how they can get into Amazon.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it.
So I was emailing him right before we started, trying to give him some information. I sent him the link to Jimmy's book. And so anyway, we may have another seller in our midst soon. So
that's awesome. Very, very cool. Arlene wants to know, are you monitoring their time?
You know what? We had VAs before this business. We had used VAs as a blogger for us for a while. And we had started her out with that system that they do have. They do have a system. There is a program that you can monitor them, and they basically take snapshots of them in front of the computer. That might be what she's referencing. And we did that. And we didn't do it with our 3 guys. We know it's available, and if we feel like we need to, we can certainly implement that. But I think it's more of a trust thing. They're very good people. Yes, they are very good people. And I feel better trusting them until they give me a reason not to.
Yep.
And they respect that too. We've never had that on any of these VAs. Like I said, we tried it once, and I don't know that the result was really anything worthwhile.
Right.
And I think it diminished our relationship.
It does. I totally agree with you 100%.
Well, I think if production went down or something, then we would have to think something. But
Yep. I love that. So Ryan wants to know, are they working full time then? And
they are.
Full time mean 40 hours a week?
Yes.
Okay.
They do. They all 3 of them do work 40 hours, and they always have.
Yep.
And that was because when we went to hire them, they were looking for full-time work. And we found that when we were interviewing, we would interview some that wanted part-time because they were already working for someone else. And if you want to have them trained and doing things the way you want them done, I don't think you can do that and then work 20 hours for you, and then they work 20 hours for someone else.
Yep. Hear you. Vitaly, so do you have them wait a week after they source the product before they buy it?
No, not necessarily. It just kind of depends on where we are in the week and what we're buying. If they sourced it, and I mean, a lot of it has to do with the way they read Keepa too. I'm sorry, but you got to read Keepa. Yes. And if it looks like this was a sudden drop in Keepa, we don't want them buying it. Yep. We want them to wait it out because we don't know what happened just then. So they'll source it and it looks like a good buy, and then all of a sudden something may have changed on Keepa. We don't know what it is. We can't explain it. And the price has been steady up until that point. They'll put that in they'll put it in the spreadsheet, and they'll mark it out for a week or 2. And then we'll go back and review that. So not everything that they source that day is going to be bought that day, because sometimes there are some things you have to monitor for a minute to recognize any issues that, I don't want to send something up there and find out that all these people were getting told that it was restricted, and we were able to get on it. And then our stuff gets up there and now it's restricted ASIN, and Amazon's about to start selling it.
Right. Oh, I hear you. That's good. You see, so if you're using Inventory Lab for accounting numbers, does that mean all your expenses from all parts of your business are entered there?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Jonathan, do you give any type of incentive for performance, or is it strictly monthly?
I don't think we do. I don't think we ever have. Now we do offer, they're all 3 actually, 2 of them for sure are getting close to a year with us. And we did also do the extra month pay last year, the December. So what that means is that if they work a full year for you, which they hadn't, so we prorated it. But in their environment, when they work there at home, they get paid for 11 months and then or 12 months actually, and they get an extra month. And that's kind of like a Christmas bonus. It's not a Christmas, a yearly bonus, but they get it at Christmas time. Right. So that is probably the only bonus, really. You know, they're happy to be able to work from home and the hours that they choose, with the exception of the 3 hours of buying time. And that they're happy. I mean, they're happy, we're happy. So we don't have to offer incentives, I guess, as far as I know. They get their work done. They each have different tasks that are assigned to them as well, on top of, you know, the sourcing and the buying. And, you know, like I said, we have somebody who monitors our, marks up our maximum purchase numbers. We have somebody who goes in there and reviews, you know, our restock. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that they do on top of everything else, but they get it done. So I don't think there's a performance problem yet.
Yeah, I don't think so. I agree with you. And that you're right. It's a huge bonus for them to be able to work from home. My VAs tell me that all the time. They're just so thankful that they don't have to go to that old job that they used to go to. And especially if they're in the Manila area. I know you said yours are not, but if they live, the traffic in Philippines is horrendous, especially in the Manila city. And so one of my VAs, that he had to drive 2 to 3 hours each way to a call center job, and he made less than he makes now, and he gets to be home and be with his family. So it's huge bonus to be able to not have to fight that traffic. Oh, that is awesome. What selection criteria did you use to select the VAs from everyone who applied? Obviously, you said you put in that secret word or something where, you know, in your application, you know, write purple monkey in the subject line or something crazy like that. And then you interviewed them face to face on Zoom. What other criteria?
Well, we wanted to make sure that they were available 40 hours. And, you know, we wanted to make sure that if they were working another job at the time, because some of them, you know, do have multiple jobs, especially if they haven't got a full-time job. If they did, we wanted to know what it was and if they intended to continue with that. So that was also something that was important to us. We had kind of a sheet. I don't have it with me now, but I had kind of a cheat sheet. I went on YouTube and I found out all kinds of information as far as, you know, what to ask. And we kind of made a sheet and they all got asked the same thing. And is there anyone else? Oh, internet. That was another big thing. Okay. It's coming back to me. Okay. Do you have trustworthy internet? Do you have your own computer, not borrowed? Because we do have one VA that had one borrowed for a while.
Which we didn't know up front.
Which he didn't explain to us. He said, yes, I have a computer. And that was the question. Do you have a computer? So I would say they own their computer. What kind of VPN do they use if they have access currently? And have they done any kind of distance working before? That's helpful too, because there is still, you know, there's a little bit of work to get online and get Skype started and, you know, those kinds of things. And we walked them all through that. But all three of them were enough computer savvy to be able to do all of that with very little problem. And I honestly believe that they went and YouTubed if they didn't know how to do it.
That's awesome. Yeah.
But there is some internet issues over there. I mean, one lives on the east, one on the west or something. And the big rains and stuff really mess with it.
Yeah. So there are times where they're not going to have internet, and we just ask that they communicate that with us if they can. And there's probably, I'd say, out of a month, maybe one day a month, one of them's going to have issues.
Yeah.
And the other one just steps up and just, well, we'll handle.
Right. Yeah. They're really good.
List,
yeah. They'll get really good. The two brothers, especially, they communicate, I guess, phone or whatever they can. Yeah. And he goes, oh, well, you know, he doesn't have internet today, ma'am. Or, you know, they've had a rain, you know, a lot of rain and it's bad internet. And, you know, so I get the information one way or the other that they're not going to be available. And then the other two who are available, they'll go ahead and pull the load for the third. It works out really well. They take good care of each other too.
Wow. That's great. I think this is the last question we have right here. We might end it after this. And if you guys have other questions, just post in the Facebook group. You can tag them. Kim wants to know, so if you had VAs start full-time from day one at $1,500 a month, so you divide it by 3, obviously you had 3 at $1,500 or so. I'm assuming that had to have taken a significant share of your profits. How long did it take to bounce back from that dip and then outpace it?
But we didn't start them off at that price. That's about what it is now after a year.
Okay.
Yeah. We started, one of them, the lowest one we started was at $2 an
$2
hour.
an hour. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The other one was $250, and one of them was maybe, or both of them $250, $275, maybe $275, $250, and $2.
Okay.
And that was kind of just based on, one of them is it's his first job. He had done some work with tactical arbitrage. He's 19 now, he's 20.
Okay.
But he was 19 at the time, and so he told us what he wanted to make. He told us he wanted $1.80, and we rounded it up to $2. And so it's what we did. And but now they're all been having raises, and every 6 months at least we give them a raise. And the one that's a lead, we gave him another raise, and probably are about to do it again, because we're gonna have him do some more training on the eBay stuff. And so we probably are going to give him a bump in pay so that he can train the other two in what he's doing now.
Wow. Man, this is awesome. We had a ton of questions, and I'm sure there'll be more that come up from the replay. Any other advice you'd say for people who are, most of these folks, I can probably guarantee there's nobody that's has their VAs buying for them. So what's advice for those folks that are thinking about getting a VA, or that maybe have some VAs and love to move towards this step?
Now, one thing I want to add is we're kind of lucky because we did retire, so we got retirement. So we've been, just kind of putting back into the company pretty much, making a whole lot out. We take some, but not a big chunk. So to answer that one question, how did we handle, going from nothing? Well, we were doing all the work and we were retired. So basically the money was there. We just started paying it to them instead of, putting it back into the company. We just, that may cut down on our purchases a little bit, but then we do bounce back pretty quick.
We had to adjust in the amount of purchases we were making. And that can be done. I mean, if your goal is to spend, a certain amount each week, and that you're going to spend $400 that month on a VA, well, so you don't spend an extra $100 a week on your budget. There's your $400. You've not changed a thing other than what you're sending up to Amazon.
Yeah.
But you'll turn over that money that you sent to Amazon in this last shipment, and there'll be some profit there for you to reinvest in your products for the following week. So, or however often you purchase. Yeah. So, I think you can make it work without really thinking about it, without feeling it. Let's put it that way.
That's awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for doing this. This has been enormously helpful. Jonathan said this has been awesome. Thank you, Gay and Gary, for sharing your time. This has been super helpful. So,
cool.
Appreciate your time doing this, and thanks for being a part of the group. So, guys.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Good night, everybody.
All right. You too.
All right.
Bye.
You've been listening to Streams of Income with self-help author Ryan Rieger. From right here in the Dallas Metroplex, Ryan teaches several entrepreneurial courses and group coaching programs to students all over the world. Be sure to listen next week at the same time for Streams of Income with Ryan Rieger.